Okay, people, I gave in. Everyone kept asking me over and over, and I finally caved. Ryan and I just finished binging Nobody Wants This. I avoided it because I really didn't want to sit on my couch after a long day of being a rabbi and watch another rabbi be a rabbi, and worse yet, date as a rabbi. It's really weird, people. When I was dating, I was like some kind of curiosity. Can I drink? Can I swear? Do I eat this or that? Do I glow in the dark after the sun sets? I wasn't really excited about watching someone else experience the same thing. If you haven't watched this streaming sensation, Nobody Wants This, it's about a young, good-looking rabbi named Noah who, after breaking off his engagement to what would be the perfect rabbi's wife, meets a non-Jewish woman. Joanne is tiny and blonde and a lot, and Noah grows to love everything about her. And Joanne grows to love a man who she would have never considered dating before. Everyone around them is shocked, especially the Jewish women. Now, I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of how they portrayed the women in the show. They control the men around them and all but shame Noah publicly for dating someone who doesn't conform to what they see as the model rabbi's partner. When Rabbi Noah, the hot rabbi, is faced with the awkward dating questions, I was squirming on my end of the couch. I got flashbacks of being on dates and explaining that aside from the whole rabbi thing, my life was pretty much the same as everyone else's. Ryan, on the other hand, is on the other side of the couch laughing at everything. I'm looking at him like, what are you laughing at? And he just looks at me and says, who would date a rabbi? Nobody wants that. I did see a lot of parallels to my life, though. How it takes a rabbi forever to get out of temple, and Joanne is outside waiting for him. Every rabbi's spouse knows that driving two cars isn't optimal, but it's usually the right choice. Watching them meet each other's parents was also hilarious. Ryan didn't get as much mourning as Joanne. About 18 years ago, we were on our way to the community celebration of Israel's birthday downtown. It was huge. And if being with me and the entire Jewish community of Metro Detroit wasn't enough for him at one time, this is true, I turned to him when we were almost there and said, you know my parents will be here, right? And once the blood came back into his face, he handled it like a champ. When Ryan and I decided we were it for each other, we used to swap stories about how many people wanted to fix us up. Everyone thought that they were a matchmaker. I was not very interested in being set up, but luckily I relented and I met Ryan on a blind date. So I guess you could say our mutual friend was a matchmaker. And matchmaking is a tradition that is almost as old as time. In this week's Torah portion, after Sarah died and Abraham eulogizes her, weeps over her, and buries her, he turns to his need for his son Isaac to get married. In most of the stories prior to this, and really including this one, Isaac is silent. He does speak during the Akedah when his father is about to sacrifice him, but is saved at the last minute. Some scholars believe that Isaac was actually 37 at the time of the Akedah, so we would expect him to protest being slaughtered. But afterwards, we don't hear from him. When the search for a wife happened, it is not Isaac that goes on some blind dates and tries speed dating. Rather, it's Abraham who asks his servant to go find Isaac a wife from his homeland. Abraham was very clear that he did not want the servant to take a wife for Isaac from the people that he was living among, meaning not his kin. Much like in Nobody Wants This, that would be like Rabbi Noah bringing home someone who is not Jewish, which becomes the premise of the show. Abraham wanted the servant to find a nice Jewish girl from his home, Haran. According to commentaries, it appears that Abraham was also very concerned about his son never coming home if he married someone from there. Maybe he would want to stay with his wife's family and he would be living away from his father. It's kind of like sending your kid to the University of Michigan and they meet someone from New York, and the next thing you know, you're FaceTiming your grandchildren and lamenting that they don't live here. I guess some things just don't change. In any case, the servant does what he's told and finds Rebecca. He knows she is of good character because she offers him a drink from her pitcher and then runs back to the spring to water his camels. At the time, he didn't know that Rebekah was Abraham's niece, Isaac's cousin. All he knows is that his prayer was answered, and he places gold bracelets on Rebekah and a ring in her nose. I guess that's the ancient equivalent of going to Jared. Once Rebekah agrees to go with the servant, believing all was ordained by God, the next scene is actually quite beautiful. Rebekah and the servant are on their camels in the field, and they are almost at Isaac and Abraham's home. Rebekah sees Isaac and gets off her camel. The servant tells Isaac everything that happened. Isaac takes Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent and marries her. And the Torah tells us that he loved her and that he found comfort in her after his mother's death. Now, what can these two stories tell us? They are both stories of unlikely love. In one story, nobody wants this, and in the other story, everyone wants this. We know how the story ends with Isaac and Rebekah, but we'll have to wait until season 2 to find out about Noah and Joanne. If you think about it, each relationship has a challenge. Isaac and Rebekah are cousins, and there aren't a lot of branches between them on the tree. Joanne is not Jewish, and Noah is a rabbi, and there's an expectation that he will marry someone Jewish. As his senior rabbi tells him in the show, you have to marry someone Jewish to make more Jewish kids and keep our people going. No guilt at all. I don't pass judgment on anyone or anything. It's not the point. On this Shabbat, the last one before Thanksgiving, my hope is that we can take away some aspects of Jewish history and Jewish comedy that help us realize what it is that we are grateful for in our own lives. Now, as Jews, most of us have a lot of family that is in our business all the time. Both of our stories exemplify that fact. Now, my parents are here, they might be surprised. I choose to be grateful for that aspect of my family and my Jewish community because it makes us who we are. One big, large, sometimes kvetchy, functional family. Right now, when so many families are having trouble being together and seeing eye to eye, just returning to the fact that we are bound together by history and by blood might be the best place to start the repair. I think we also need to be grateful for the people who intentionally meddle in our lives. Now, I'm all for healthy boundaries, but a lot of people don't have anyone in their life that cares enough to meddle. So many people just do life alone. We need to be glad for those who care enough about us to give their 2 cents. It means we are on their mind and in their heart every single day. And one more. I think we need to be grateful for love. That is the goal of both the show and the Torah, to find love, to live with love, to share love. And in a world that feels so devoid of love, both stories remind us to actively search for it and swim in it when we find it, and to just jump in with both feet. Every relationship has its challenges, whether you are too closely related or you don't share the same faith, or something entirely different. There are always challenges. We must decide if love is worth fighting for, if love is worth compromising for. I think most of us would say that it is. I think our biblical and Netflix couples would say that it is. A few weeks ago, I got an email from a website that was selling sweatshirts that said, "Hot Rabbi." I almost ordered one for all 7 of us, but ultimately I didn't. I decided I would let our beauty speak for itself. Brian and I had a great time watching the show and reliving some of our time dating. And now that we are married, he has a t-shirt that says, "My heart belongs to a rabbi." I should have made him wear it when we were watching the show. And then I could have worn my sweatshirt that says, "This is what a rabbi looks like." It would have been awesome. I'll have to remember that for season 2. In the meantime, if you haven't watched the show yet, Thanksgiving would be a great time to binge it. I hope it will help you look at the one you love with more gratitude than you did before. It might even make your family seem a little less insane. I think it will give you a laugh and help you realize that being Jewish is just so special. Rabbi Noah said something to that effect when he said, "I wanted to be a rabbi so I could be super Jewish all the time." I want all of us to be so grateful to be Jewish that we want to be super Jewish all the time. just like the hot rabbi. I wish all of you a happy and a healthy and a super Jewish Thanksgiving that anyone and everyone would want. Shabbat shalom.